This is going to hopefully be a quick video on my U2 cassette collection. I started collecting U2 on cassette back in the 80s, and I really prefer U2 up through the Achtung Baby album, and at the very latest, All That You Can't Leave Behind. I really feel that that was when U2 was at their peak. I know some people might disagree. They like some of the more recent stuff, and that's cool. But just for me, I've got a real nostalgia for cassettes. I still have a lot of my old cassettes, and the ones that I gave away, I've bought back over time. So I've kind of rebuilt my cassette collection. I do have a cassette player with my stereo, and so sometimes, not too often, do I play my cassettes, but I just enjoy having them. Cassette was a lot different format than vinyl was. In some cases, as you'll see for this collection, the artwork was a little bit different. And I don't know, I'm a cassette guy still, even to this day. So the first U2 album was Boy, and these are on the Island label, although they were distributed, I think, by Warner Brothers, because these look a lot like my Led Zeppelin cassettes look like. There's just some spare credits and information there in the inlay card. Their second album, October, which was another great raw album. And again, not a whole lot on the inlay card in terms of information. And the first album that I became aware of by U2 was when the video New Year's Day was on MTV. I think it was in 1983. And Sunday Bloody Sunday was obviously the other big hit off of this album. Pretty much same information there on the inlay card. And then they released a live EP, Under a Blood Red Sky. And this has two songs on here that were not previously on a U2 album. They're live versions. The first one was 11 O'Clock TikTok, which I believe was their second single that was released in 1980 before their debut album. And then there's a track on here, which was a B-side called Party Girl, which was the B-side of a track called A Celebration, which was released between the October and the War album. This was from a concert, obviously at Red Rocks in June of 1983. So they were touring to support the War album at that point. And then The Unforgettable Fire, and this was the first cassette that actually had different artwork than the vinyl cover. This is a more close-up shot of the band with the castle there in the background, although the cassette still looks the same. The inlay card has a little bit more to offer than previous cassettes did. And then another EP, Wide Awake in America. This one was some live. There are about 2 live songs. There's a version of Bad and a sort of Homecoming. And then the 3 Sunrises and Love Comes Tumbling are both studio tracks. And all 4 songs are repeated both on the first side of the cassette and the second side. And not much there on the inlay card, pretty bare. And now for the first time, they really go all out for a cassette. This is the Joshua Tree. Again, the photograph on the cover is different from the vinyl and even the CD. It's a clear cassette for the first time. And then we've got a pretty elaborate, I guess you could say, J card. We got the gatefold photograph there, and then a spread of the cover photograph. And there are some credits there, but not a whole lot, but more than had ever been offered in a U2 cassette before. And then the soundtrack to their movie Rattle and Hum, which I do enjoy watching from time to time. And it's a mixture of studio and live tracks. A couple covers thrown in there. All Along the Watchtower was a cover. Helter Skelter was a cover of the Beatles. even though they take a few liberties with the lyrics, but there are lyrics printed there. And then musically, U2 made a left turn with Achtung Baby. Again, this cover is a little bit different from the vinyl, only in as much as there's just a section of the front cover that is reproduced there, and then as you pull out the J card, you get a little bit more of it. And all the lyrics are here. So definitely the thickest inlay card yet for a cassette. And there were some cassette singles that were released from this album as well. Zooropa. And then I'm not going to pull this inlay card out because it's like a road map. I can't ever seem to put it back together, but it's got lyrics and it's got photographs and credits. And then the last cassette that I have to show here is from the Pop album. And this also, you can see how thick that inlay card is, with lyrics, credits, photographs, and whatnot. So that is my U2 cassette collection. And maybe my next one will be, at least U2 related, will be my CDs, and maybe after that my vinyl. So thanks for watching.